just... So the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, also known as the CFTC, has a lawsuit against Binance because they're skirting rules and they've got some problematic business practices. They said that they were taking a, quote, calculated, phased approach to increase their U.S. presence and violated U.S. laws that require futures contracts and other derivatives to be traded on regulated platforms. So they're saying that Binance was...
Also, can I give a little bit of background on, just in case people don't remember, Binance was in the news when the whole FTX was happening. This was this was the organization who wanted to buy out FTX and then backed out. They are the biggest crypto platform.
Yeah.
I think they dwarf FTX, even at FTX's height, by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And wasn't CZ, the head of Binance, the one who first brought the attention to the bookkeeping at FTX?
I believe so.
Right.
He tweeted.
So this is like the number one crypto platform, the number one player in crypto right now.
Right. And they were encouraging U.S. customers to use VPNs to appear that they were operating outside the U.S., which is such a fucking blatant violation. I don't know how they were doing it. I don't know were they sending out emails or what?
At first it was, and the best part is when all these happen, they get all the messages and they get to post all these messages where they just...
The internal communications
where these companies, the employees, they're just laughing at you.
Yeah.
And they're laughing at government regulators and they're saying everyone's a fucking idiot and we'll just have them do this. But so what they figured out was that you could use a VPN to get around these regulations. So it would look like you were trading derivatives somewhere else. And first, I believe it was on their website. They had a guide on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, this might look like we're encouraging people to skirt these regulations.
Right.
And then they had third parties doing it, right? So they were basically affiliated with Binance, but they would just have them post the information. So, it's pretty easy to find out how to do it right here.
Right.
And they have all these messages from people. It's very good. They also they also have people just talking about how people are openly using it for crime, fraud, all of these things.
Wonderful.
There's a funny one. Internally, Binance officers, employees, and agents have acknowledged that the Binance platform has facilitated potentially illegal activities. The CFTC's complaint reads, citing the example of a conversation between former Chief Compliance Officer Samuel Lim and another colleague in February 2019 about a transaction with Hamas, a militant group. Lim reportedly told the colleague that terrorists typically send small sums because large sums constitute money laundering. The colleague responded, "They can barely buy an AK-47 with $600." So...
Okay.
Quite fun. They also, they have messages of they were supposed to have a money laundering prevention officer.
Right.
And they were like, obviously, you've seen, it's all the same shit with FTX where these companies don't do any of the compliance they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then regulators come by and they're just like, I don't know. And so they just slapped a label on some guy. They're like, "You're our money laundering prevention officer," and they're just blatantly going, "Can I get some manager to sign off on this?"
Yeah. Well, so Paxos, the firm that issued the Binance stablecoin, which confuses me. I don't understand why Binance couldn't just issue their own stablecoin. I don't know why there needs to be a third party, but Paxos asked them for a compliance audit. Asked Binance to do a compliance audit in October 2020, and Binance purposely engaged a compliance auditor that would, quote, just do a half-assed individual sub-audit on geofencing to buy us more time. This is from their internal communications. So the guy who is the chief compliance officer, something Lim, the person who held the title of money laundering reporting officer.
Oh, reporting officer. Sorry, I said prevention officer. My mistake.
Said that she needed to, quote, write a fake annual MLRO report to Binance board of directors WTF.
Really beautiful.
So then Lim,
what the fuck?
Lim, the guy in charge of her, said, yeah, it's fine. I can get management to sign off on the fake report. And then around the same time as the referenced half-assed compliance audit came in, the MLRO exclaimed to Lim in a chat in all caps, I has no confidence in our geofencing. In reference to the old I can has cheeseburger meme.
It is funny that just,
Yeah, it's always funny to me that crypto was the spirit of crypto was supposed to be just techno libertarianism and being able to trust these proof of stake, proof of whatever blockchain shit, and then they're just wildly corrupt and have no regard for any kind of rules or regulations. And I guess now we see why, because they're greedy and lack any kind of moral compass.
I don't even know I just think they don't.
Or they're inept.
Fucking care.
Yeah, there's that too.
It's a bunch of really smart people going like, look how much money we can make if we do this.
Yeah. They literally, I mean, I still don't understand just like issuing coins and just printing money out of thin air. I mean, only the government could do that.
It's been very funny for me because when we started this, I was pretty dismissive of crypto. I was like, it's all a scam, it's stupid, whatever. And admitted as much when we started the show and we would talk about it and make fun of it. And there were a lot of comments. And I mean, that was when things were still pretty good for crypto. And there was a lot of comments like, I can't believe these guys won't even take it seriously, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, I guess I do. If we're going to do this, I owe it to myself to at least, and the other people to look into this. And the more we looked into it, the more it was like, oh no, this is such bullshit. It's all fucking scams.
Yeah, man.
And then it all just started coming down. And you're seeing the U.S. government seems, in the wake of the FTX collapse, the U.S. government seems pretty emboldened to keep taking actions like this and go after these companies who have blatant disregard for regulations. And I mean, you also have to understand, they've been trying to figure out whether or not to classify these as securities or not, and if that would trigger regulations from SEC and all these compliance things. And it's been for so long they've allowed this stuff to go on. I mean, just complete securities fraud. When you're talking about, any of those people who we deem legit, Mr. Wonderful, who, taking, what are they called? Initial coin offerings at these lower rates. And then just as soon as they go, because they're going to fucking plummet, they just sell them off, make a huge profit on all that shit.
What was this with SBF getting? I didn't see this $40 million Chinese bribery.
Just another charge. He was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, tack him on. Who cares? Fuck
right.
It.
I mean,
was trying
this
to bribe.
Guy was fucking. And that's the thing too. That it's not just so. A big part of FTX is. A big part of like all the revelations about FTX was him trying to curry favor with all these politicians, all these heads of state, and it's not just him. All of these. Binance had the same thing. They were trying to curry favor with regulators. Even, I got to find it because they reached out to fucking Gary. So in 2019, Binance staff approached Gary Gensler, the former Commodity Futures Trading and Commission Chair and now SEC Chair, to become an advisor. Mr. Gensler, then teaching at MIT, was likely back in a regulator seat if Dems win the 2020 election.
Okay. Did he say yes?
No.
Oh, yeah, because now what's he doing?
He's the head of the SEC.
I know.
Yeah.
Seen if you knew.
What?
So I winked at you.
But yeah, so they were they also wanted to get close to Jin Chao, or no, in mid-2019, Jin Chao, the Binance's chief strategy officer, learned that a high school friend, Sigal Mandelker, oversaw the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control. He flagged this in a group chat and noted that he might be able to bump into her at a school reunion that fall. So
Jesus Christ.
They were all in on the
fraud.